welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophie. I'm so excited because today I am going to be doing a little update on being a full-time small business owner. I went full-time with my business back in November of last year. So I've been full-time with my business for about 7 months now, and I thought, which is crazy, but I thought it would be really cool to share a little update on just how all of that has been going, while also answering some questions. So I actually sent an email out to my email list asking them to share their questions for today's video, and then they were entered into a little giveaway to win a Starbucks gift card on me. So thank you so much to everybody that participated. I love hearing from you guys. So I have a list of them ready to go, but I also wanted to start with just kind of sharing a quick update for how this journey has been for me. And honestly, it has been a complete whirlwind. I feel like I am finally starting to really find my footing. And I've learned a lot really, really quickly. I feel like when you are a full-time business owner, you learn a lot very, very fast because you have no choice but to learn and adapt extremely quickly. So it's a lot, but it's been so much fun. My favorite part of being full-time with my business so far has literally just been having the opportunity to set my own schedule and to choose my own hours. And it's summertime right now. So on Fridays, typically I don't like to work a ton because I like to be outside, enjoying the sunshine, going to the pool with friends. I've been going out to eat with people for lunch, just making sure that I'm making time for family and friends and doing things that really, really make me happy. And I don't know, I feel like that's the reason why any of us do this full time, why any of us, take our creative businesses full time, is just the type of lifestyle that you can have when you are your own boss, and the freedom that it affords you is just absolutely priceless. One of the goals that I have this next quarter is to focus on business development. I feel like I honestly haven't had time to focus on business development in a really, really long time. But I've also been knocking my revenue goals out of the park every single month. And so it hasn't felt as pressing. But I think once we enter into a new quarter, I think after June, we're going to be entering into quarter 3, if I'm correct. So for Q3, I really do want to focus on business development because I really would ideally like to add on 1 new retainer client to my business, if not 2. That would be ideal. And I'm kind of getting to the point though where I know I'm going to be, if I add on 1 to 2 more retainer clients, I really feel that I'm going to be at capacity. But I do want to achieve that because I do want to hire and grow my team, which is so funny because if you watched a video from me when I first went full-time with my business about 7 months ago, I was like, I'm never going to hire anybody. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. And what do you know? I already regret saying that because that's just not how I feel anymore. I think in my mind, I was just I'm never going to be able to find somebody that I trust enough to let handle things with my business. But I'm seeing now that I'm going to have to do that because of the vision that I have for this business going forward. I want to grow the business, to grow a team, and to have potentially 2 to 3 other people working with me. And I want to be able to serve my clients better in that way. I want to be able to delegate some things. And I also really want to focus more on coaching. I recently launched a coaching program, a group coaching program called the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator. And it is a 12-week program with live classes every other week. And then on the off weeks, that's when we have office hours for one-on-one mentorship and conversations with me that I have been fielding with my students through the Voxer app. So we've just been talking with each other over the app, and that has been so special. It's been so special to watch my students already grow, and I'll put a little screenshot up here in this area of a super sweet message that I got from one of my students this past week. And so just to see, we're only a couple weeks into this, and to see how it's already impacting students and how they're already taking steps to grow their creative businesses and already taking action on things that they wouldn't have taken action on before is so life-giving to me. And so I'd really like to have more opportunity to create more courses that are going to help women do what I'm doing right now. One of my biggest passions right now is to also help other women who have this dream, have this vision for their life, for their creative business. I want to help other people achieve that. So that's something that I want to make more time for in my business in the future. As for hiring, I think my first step would probably be to hire either a virtual assistant or a personal assistant of some sort. I have decided that I'm not going to do that until I have been in business for a full year. That's just kind of like a milestone that I want to get to before I look into hiring somebody else to work on my team. It's weird to even think about having a team, but that's where I feel like this is headed. So in order to prepare for that, that's where I'm like, okay, in Q3, I would really like to add on a couple of new retainer clients so that I can start looking to hire. I could hire somebody right now, but that's just kind of like the determination that I've made looking at my numbers where I'm like, I just want to add on like one more retainer. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, but that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I'm headed. A huge reason why I want to grow my team is because my husband and I would really like to have kids someday. It's not something that we're looking to do like right this second, but we know that we want to have a family together. And when that time comes, I really, really, really want to be able to take a maternity leave and to be present with my child and to give them my attention. I definitely still want to work after having a baby. I can't really see a time in my life where I'm not going to be doing something like this. So I really feel passionate about being able to have both a career and a child. So I want to be able to give my full attention to both, but when I have a baby, it's really, really important for me that I have a maternity leave and that I'm able to give my child like my full attention and to just be present and to enjoy those sweet moments with my family. So that's kind of like the motivation and the goal behind that. And like family, thinking about family, that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to go full time with my business in the first place, is because I don't want to have to ask somebody for permission to go pick up my child from school if they need to come home early, or if I need to take my child to a doctor's appointment. I don't want to have to go to a boss and like feel uncomfortable and feel nervous and be like, hey, like, can I go pick up my kid? Like, and I know not every employer is like that, but even if your employer is super chill, it's like you always feel a little bit of that anxiety of like, oh my gosh, this is like the second time this week that I've asked to do this, or the third time this week that I've left a little bit early. And I'm just like, if I don't have to live that life, I don't want to live it. Like, I just don't want to deal with that. And like, I don't know, if I want to take my kid out of school for them to go have a day at the zoo with me or go do something fun, I just don't want to have to ask for people's permission. I want to do what I want to do. It's a huge motivator for me. Okay, so enough about that. I want to get into the questions for today. I'm going to start with this first one is from actually one of my CEA students. Her name is Francine. I love her so much. She is a shining star. I really believe in this girl. I really do. So Francine, if you're watching this, I appreciate you. I'm so excited for everything that is ahead for you. And thank you so much for submitting a question. So this first question says, what's your best advice to find motivation when business is slow at the beginning? I think when business is slow at the beginning, it's like the first thing that you really need to find some motivation is you just need some quick wins. You just need one win. For me, I needed to find one client, like one first sale, and then that was what gave me enough motivation to move on to the next thing. I think what was really helpful for me was that I had a full-time job alongside it, so I didn't feel like I was really like hurting for cash. And it was just kind of like, okay, like we'll see where this goes. We'll see what happens. I wasn't rushing myself on a big timeline or anything, because again, I had a full-time job alongside it. I also didn't fully realize the full potential of what my business could be at the time. But a lot of people ask me about how do you find motivation? How do you do that? And honestly, I really think one of the biggest pieces of this is not even about motivation. It's about discipline. So I kind of challenge people when they're like, how do you get motivated? How do you stay motivated? My challenge to you is to stop thinking about motivation and start thinking about discipline. And for me, the only thing that is enough for me to stay motivated and disciplined, like it's one thing to be motivated, but motivation is a feeling. It's a fleeting feeling that comes and goes. My levels of motivation, they rise and fall from week to week. There'll never be a time where I am 100% motivated 100% of the time, but for those days where I don't feel motivated, that's where the discipline comes in. The thing that keeps me disciplined, because like discipline is hard, but you have to have a reason why you're doing it. You have to keep your eyes on the prize. You have to have an end goal. It really helps if you are a goal-oriented person. I will not lie. It's helpful. I feel like it can be easier to be successful as an entrepreneur if you are a goal-oriented person. If you're not, that doesn't mean that you can't be a successful entrepreneur, but I do think having that character trait really is an advantage. I really do feel that way. If you are able to zero in on your end goal, that is what's going to keep you motivated. That's what is going to keep you disciplined. But in order for you to keep your eyes on the prize and focus on the end goal, in order for that to be enough to motivate you, there's two things that have to be at play here. One, you have to believe that your end goal or your prize at the end of the tunnel here, you have to believe that that's actually possible. If you don't actually think that it's possible, like if you don't really, really think that it's possible, if you don't actually believe in your mind that that end goal that you have here is possible, if you don't really believe that, it's not going to be enough to keep you motivated. It's not going to be enough to keep you disciplined. That is my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree, but from what I've seen from previous coaching clients, what I've seen in my own personal life, in work, in sports, in anything, if you don't actually believe that it's possible, you're not going to fight for it. You're not going to fight for something the way that you would if you know that it's possible. If you're approaching it that like, this is possible, I just have to put in the work to do it, then you will put in the work to get there if you want it badly enough. You just have to like literally want it badly enough. And I was talking to one of my clients about this. I think some people think that once you start a business and maybe you go full time with your business, everything's just so easy and it feels so good and everything's so right and it's just so awesome. That's not the case. It's wonderful, but it's also hard. So like having a full-time job working in corporate is hard. Having a small business as your full-time job working for yourself, it's still hard. Both are hard. You just have to choose which one you would rather do. Both are going to be hard. I just hate it when people are like, oh, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I think that is one of the most misleading, most BS things I have ever heard, because I don't believe that that's true. And that's not even me trying to be cynical. I love what I do, but like there are some days where it still feels like work. There's some days where it's still stressful, and I'm obsessed with my job. I freaking love my job, but like work is work. I just feel like if I'm going to have to work, I would rather it be something that I love, something that gives me life, something that I wake up on a Monday morning excited to do. So both are hard. You just have to choose which hard you want to do. If this life appeals to you, if this life gets you the things that you want to have, then that's what you should focus on. If there's a job in sales that gets you the things that you want to have, that gets you to your end goal, then that's what you should do. But to me, my why is I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. I want to be on my own schedule. I want to live my life the way that I want to live my life. I want to be able to go for a walk at 2:00 in the afternoon and go for a hike somewhere and be gone for 2 hours and not have anybody say anything to me about it. The end goal for all of this for me is ultimately flexibility and freedom. Money as well, because I can tell you I'm making more now as a small business owner than I ever would have in any of the jobs I've ever had prior to this, like truly. So money is definitely a goal, but the ultimate goal is like time with my family, flexibility with my future children, time with my husband, like time to be with him, go on trips with him. And one day when we have kids, like time to be with my children on vacation, and for it to not be so freaking hard because I've got to, try and get my boss to give me extra PTO. Like, I just don't want to deal with that. There's a bunch of things like that to me, all of those together, like I hated in corporate sitting at a desk all freaking day. And like, even if I went to go take a 30-minute walk during the day, I still had to come back into the office, still had to feel cooped up inside, doing work that I didn't want to do. And like, it just sucked. It was soul sucking. And I just don't want that for myself. So when I went full time with my business, people were like, well, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back. To me, there's no other option. This is the only option. And I'm like, if this business fails, I'll start a new one, but I'm not going back to corporate. That's enough to keep me motivated. So that's that on that. This question is from Sally, and Sally said, I have been struggling for 2 years to get motivated to really start my business, but I am my own worst enemy. I'm continually coming up with excuses for not spending time focusing on my business. So my question, how did you get past the self-doubt? What did you do to keep yourself focused and motivated? So This is kind of similar to what I just shared, but I will just let you know that like you're always going to have self-doubt. If you wait to work on your business or start your business until you don't have self-doubt anymore, you'll never start it because literally that never goes away. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that never goes away. I will say I have a lot more belief and confidence in myself as a business owner now than what I used to, but like there's still times where I have a lot of self-doubt. In the past few months, I lost a retainer client that usually when I have a retainer come on, they usually have to commit for like at least 4 months. And I had a retainer client that actually ended their retainer after their 4 months. It like was very hard for me. I've never had a client that like after their 4-month commitment didn't continue with their retainer. Like that's the first time that has ever happened for me. Most of the time, my clients are with me for years. And that has just been historically what has happened with my business. Even before I went full-time with my business, a bunch of the clients that I have right now are people that have been with me for years, like since I started my business, and God bless them. I love them, truly love them. So it was really, really hard for me to have a client that after their 4 months was up, they decided to not continue. It was like a huge blow to my confidence. And then I found that like after that, I felt like all of my clients were going to drop me. Like every day I was like, anytime a client was like, hey, can we set up a meeting? I was like, they are setting up a meeting with me because they're going to fire me. Like it was, and this was only a couple months ago. Like I was so anxious, so freaked out, felt so uncertain. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to like lose all my business and like not make any money? Like it, I mean, just full on catastrophic thinking. But I think the important thing here is to remember that these are just voices in your head that are not necessarily saying truth to you. Like everything that I was thinking in my mind was not the truth. When I get on my next call with a client, me thinking that they're going to fire me was not the truth. 99.9%, 100% of the time, those thoughts, I just feel like were not true. Like I was about to get on a call with one of my influencer clients and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to fire me. Literally could not be further from the truth. It was a fantastic call and we're doing more work together now than we ever have. My biggest advice is for you to examine some of these self-doubt thoughts, some of these negative thoughts that you're having and ask yourself, like, is this actually true? And if it's not, don't waste another second on those thoughts. Another thing that really comes into play here for me is prayer, reading scripture, and looking at like, what does the Bible say about me? What does God have to say about me? What does the Lord have to say about me? God has so many promises for you in the Bible, and I truly believe that if He's called you to something, He will equip you to do it. I know that God has called me to do this, and I know that He's going to equip me to do it and see it through, and that is what keeps me motivated. That's what helps me pass the self-doubt. But truly, if you wait until everything's perfect, if you wait until you have no self-doubt, you'll never start because those things are never, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're never going to have a time where there's no self-doubt. You just have to do it anyways and keep pushing forward past those negative thoughts, past that self-doubt, because those are just distractions that are going to keep you from getting where you want to be. And honestly, small business success, I think 80% of it is literally determined by your mindset. You can have all the skills in the world, all the expertise in the world, but if you don't have the mindset, it's going to be really, really hard to be successful. So that is the tea. This one is from Claire. This one says, what has been the biggest time saver in terms of automating your business that you have implemented? Thank you for all your insights and helpful advice. Can't wait to watch the video. Thanks, Claire. So the biggest thing that has helped me save time in my business is honestly implementing AI. So artificial intelligence, yes, I have implemented that into my business. I know this is a super trendy topic right now, but honestly, I think that AI usually gets a bad rap because people are scared of it. And for sure, there are things going on with AI right now in other sectors that I do not agree with, that freak me out. I don't trust the government. I don't trust these people to be using this ethically. Like, that is just how I feel. I know a lot of people are like into conspiracy theories, and like, same. I also am into conspiracy theories. Like, I do not trust the government with AI. I really don't. I think the government is spying on us 24/7. Like, I subscribe to that. If that's not your cup of tea, whatever, but that is how I feel. So yes, AI is like freaky in some aspects, but in the context of small business, I think AI is doing so so much for small business owners that is helping us to thrive and succeed. If I had had access to AI when I first started my business, I cannot imagine how much time I would have saved. Like when I was a new business owner working a full-time job alongside my business, I was going to work from 8 to 5 and then coming home and working from I would take a quick break for dinner, and then from 6 to 11 or 6 to midnight, I would be working on my business. I can only imagine how much time I could have cut down if I would have had AI at the time. And I actually have a bunch of resources, and I have a little freebie PDF that you can download. I will put it in the description box below. But it gives you ideas for prompts that you can ask AI, and you can use AI in ChatGPT, or what I use it in is something called Notion. Notion is a project management tool, and they have an AI integration that I pay $100 a year for to be able to use. And it's honestly like having an assistant. So I highly recommend doing that. But this freebie that's in the description of this video is going to take you through different AI prompts. I believe there's 30 different AI prompts that it takes you through to just kind of show you what you can literally use AI for. What's the power that you can unlock with AI? How can you streamline things, be more productive? AI has increased my productivity so much. I can use it to write descriptions for this YouTube video. I can use it to write captions for social media content. I can use it to write email scripts, blog posts. I'm a good writer, but sometimes I just don't always have time to write. And so having AI help me to brainstorm, help me to create an outline for what I'm writing, all of that stuff is so helpful. The only caveat to that is that AI is not simply just a copy and paste tool. You still have to know what kinds of prompts to give it, what context to give it. You still have to know that you are going to need to go back in and edit and inject your own personality, your own voice, your own unique stories into the whatever, it spits back out for you. But seriously, I think the people that don't adapt and don't choose to get on board with AI are going to struggle. I think the people that are focused on unlocking the power of AI for their businesses and using it for good are going to thrive. Okay, so I actually think I'm going to cut it off here and have this be a part 1, like a Q&A part 1, and then do part 2 in a different video because these have both ended up being so long. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude part 1 right now, and then I will see you guys in the next video, which will be uploaded next week, which will be part 2, answering the rest of your guys' questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.